Hi everyone. In the last couple of videos, I talked a lot about Agentic Studio and Waylay platform, and today I would like to continue this conversation, if you like, and see how you can use our system when you want to integrate your Agentic environment into our system, and secondly, why would on earth you would ever do that? So before we continue, just maybe to recap quickly what we actually do. We are well known for the diagnostic rules and workflow implementations. That is to say that with our system, you can easily create very sophisticated rules and connect different APIs and logic all together in one. And what we have done with the Agentic Studio, that we have enabled other people to use that capability as an extension tools API endpoint. Next to that, we have something which everybody else does as well. It's to wrap every API into kind of a tool, and then that one as well being able to use in the agentic applications. Now, this is all that we can see here, so you can actually create in an easy way new tools for the API definitions. And what is interesting, they can use them either immediately as inside the rules, that is something that I can show here, or you can use them in the assistant applications. That is to say that this is, for instance, a rule, or to use them in assistant application whereby I can stitch different tools and the templates all together and then provide, if you like, agentic applications this way. And notice here, if I was running diagnostic tests, then I was relying on the LLM reasoning engine to decide which capability or tool to call before eventually coming back to me with the result. And all of that is something you can build rather quickly. It takes a couple of minutes, and then you have your new agentic application. And that was all basically then covered in, like I said, in quite a few videos. And eventually, this is what we were doing. We were creating the assistant applications where we were expecting someone like a human to come and ask questions, then have a follow-up sequence of things that were happening and giving the result back. This time we will do something else. This time we will imagine someone else using our own endpoints and create their own agentic applications. So you may wonder why on earth I would do that if I was not exposed to Waylay. First of all, it's that you can still use our deterministic rules and templates to actually run a test that require that level of understanding and explainability. Second thing is that we can quickly integrate every API and expose that as a tools through the MCP server. And finally, we can also expose our own agentic applications, assistant bots, as well as the tools, which is very interesting. So what I'm going to do now is that I have created a LangChain client that does the assistant, or rather the agentic application for me. And here I used 4 or 5 different agents that will be calling in sequential order. I'm using the runnable sequence from LangChain. I'm going to look at the weather. I'm going to look at the data being provided to me. So here I am feeding the data sets before executing a call. So I'm not relying on LLM to decide it for me, that sort of a thing. Then I'm going to, once I have these things, both of these, I will push that as a data to run the diagnostic test. And eventually, if there is a problem, I'm going to create a work order. And that is what I'm doing here. Notice to create a work order, I will actually say it in plain English, with a description that comes from the role. And that's very interesting, is that you can imagine now people start coding almost in English what they want to do. Why is that? Because our assistant bot for work orders was encapsulating 3 APIs. It had a role what to do. So, create or list or update or rather delete work orders, and that's it. And for LLM would be important to know how to parse that input sentence and then parse that in appropriate endpoints. But here as a user, I didn't have to think about it. Well, I was expecting this to be only described, and I would just not need to think about what this actually API point is, whether I should do the post or a put, and what are the input arguments and their contracts and stuff like that. So this is what I'm doing here. Now, my agents that are supporting that and they're connected to the MCP server. It's first of all, I showed it before, a weather agent, which is just fetching the data from the outside. I have a data provider, if you like, that gives me the data for a given asset. That can be a query to a database or anything else, if you like. Then I have the Waylay Assistant agent. And this is the one that is going to answer on the questions with the response. And that is going to be this one, Waylay Assistant agent, that can, which is a work order. And notice here, I can actually provide any work order or any assistant bot quickly as an agentic endpoint. So I just have to copy your own secret, and that's it. They become immediately the endpoint in my MCP server that can be called by other systems. So now that we have covered that, let's see how that works end-to-end. So the first thing I want to start, it's the MCP server. There you go. The second thing I will do is that I will start the weather endpoint. And you see here it has the capability to get a weather given that there is a string which is a city. I'm adding the data feeder, if you like, agent, and this is what it can do. Now, the last thing that I'm doing here is that I'm adding now the Agentic API endpoint that can be given the question answer on my request. And finally, I'm starting the Waylay agent that can run the template, and when the template has finished, can give me the outcome of that template as a rule. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the LangChain client. And let's see what happens end to end. We have received the data. We have received the asset data and the Berlin data. We have fetched that and run a diagnostic test. We saw there was a problem. And then we run the last one to actually create a work order. In the background, this was the rule that was created. And notice it was stopped. So this was the session and the result of the task. So it's actually see it in the log. We also have called this work order agent. And that is what you can see here. So that was the filter vectoring replacement. And eventually we created the work order. And that is what you saw here. That was all what I wanted to say to show for today. So to recap, what we have seen. If you can expose any rule, and if you like a diagnostic test, it's simply exposing any rule at a runtime. That was this tool here. You can also expose any other API endpoint, like a weather forecast or any other things, or ICP or Salesforce call, and expose them as an MCP server capability to other agents. We also can expose our own assistant applications as ingredients, if you like, in something that you would like to use it on your end. And all of that was basically just a couple of clicks and buttons. Before I finish, I would just like to recap patterns that have been showing so far. There were some router and some easier patterns. We also covered primarily this one, and today we talked about merge splitter pattern for which I use the LangChain. One which is pretty tough, not really to explain, but to find the right use case, to be honest with you, it's the reinforcement learning goal-seeking agent. And I'm going to cover that in my next call. Just to give you some flavor, what you're going to see is that I'm going to run now here, there is a code already that does some evaluation, and what you see actually here is come with a final Q table. I'll talk about it more next time. But I just want to give you an idea that you can basically tap also reinforcement learning agents inside the MCP servers and still use the same ingredients like for any other application that you want to build with Waylay. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time. Bye-bye.